So today we are talking about the healing power of nature explained. What's good, party people? Christopher with If Christopher, channel dedicated to helping you transmute despair into hope. Impetus, my brother taking his life to suicide, me having an impulse, a desire, a need to help those around me because I failed to help him. So today we are talking about the healing power of nature explained. Now, I'm going to go into this from my perspective. Keep in mind, this is just my perspective. But first and foremost, you get that sunlight, you get that fresh air. And how many of us spend so much time indoors, whether it's at home, it's at work, it's our hobby is indoors, whatever the case may be. Modern life keeps us with four walls and a roof. It's nice to get outside for extended periods of time, breathe in that fresh prana, that fresh air, and get that beautiful sunlight. Obviously, a lot of people, especially if you're watching this video, you're probably familiar with Dr. Andrew Huberman, and he talks about sunlight all the time. The absolute imperative nature of getting sunlight into your eyes, not blocked by sunglasses, but actually getting in those UV rays. Now, we move beyond kind of this basic thing, and of course we're talking about with modern life, we're getting away from screens, we're getting away from various forms of entertainment, we're getting away from Wi-Fi waves, we're removing ourselves from, I guess, a lot of the interference patterns that we experience on a day-to-day life given modern existence. Now, one of the things that we also have in modern life, depending on where you live, if you live in a metro area, you're going to experience this more, but the hustle and bustle, people everywhere. When there's constantly people around, it's hard to truly, be contemplative, explore your thoughts, explore your emotions, and just exist. So one of the benefits, of course, getting out into nature is the experience of solitude, or maybe the intimate company of, a significant other, a good friend, children, whatever the case may be. It's a nice break, again, from that hustle and bustle to get away into nature. Now, we move into kind of like a physical realm. These are kind of what I'm talking about, I guess, obvious things. But from a physical standpoint, studies have shown that all you need is 8,000 steps every day, and you will decrease all-cause mortality by 50%. So what this means, there's generally considered four horsemen of the apocalypse. We're looking at heart disease, we're looking at diabetes, cancer, and then neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's, dementia, these types of things. Most everyone gets taken out by one of those four things. In addition to those four things, all-cause mortality gets dropped by 50% by walking 8,000 steps per day. So obviously getting out into nature is a way to get 8,000 steps per day without having to do them all on a treadmill in your basement or something like this. Now, on top of course, walking 8,000 steps and the all-cause mortality going down, you're also going to get some aesthetic benefits. You will burn fat. It's actually proven that one of the best ways to burn fat is just simply walking. Not even at a fast pace, but just walking consistently, again, for prolonged periods of time. So you're going to get the physical benefits, you're going to get some aesthetic benefits. This is in turn going to give you a better self-image, and by feeling better about yourself, that is indeed healing, because you will start experiencing an outer world that reflects that inner world. Now, we're kind of dancing around and talking about the neurochemistry, because that's really where a lot of the healing is kind of coming from. And you can't really talk about the neurochemistry without talking about brainwave states. So one of the things that you'll notice when you spend prolonged periods of time in nature is that your brainwave state will slow down. You'll move out of the kind of the beta wave state that we're in exclusively almost in Western society, that sort of caffeinated, hyper-focused, go, 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 do, paying attention to the clock. You slow down that brainwave state into more of an alpha wave state through prolonged periods in nature. And you can slow it down even further based on what you might be doing in nature. What this is going to allow you to do by slowing down, moving into more of an alpha wave state, is you're going to increase more serotonin. And again, I'm oversimplifying things. I'm not a neuroscientist, but what you're going to be doing is improving the function of your default mode network. And what that does is that sort of establishes within your mind your existence within the world, your purpose within the world. And of course, our mind, that is the software to the hardware that is our brain, right? Now, again, with the neurochemistry, there's a lot that you can really talk to about this. And I kind of want to point to one of the most modern therapies that has gotten a lot of praise and recognition. A lot of people have really been helped by it, and that's EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. This is generally used as a trauma treatment, and again, a lot of people have had tremendous benefit from it. Now, the key mechanism behind EMDR is lateral eye movement, and when you move your eyes laterally, you're producing acetylcholine. Now, acetylcholine is, what this does, among a bunch of other things, but this is going to really help with the neuroplastic state, and also it's going to diminish the emotional response at recall of a traumatic event. So what it allows people to do is to revisit something that was highly traumatic, something that has created a lot of emotional reactivity, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of strife for them in their life. And by revisiting it, they're able to reframe the particular event in a way that their adult mind can then heal from. So a lot of times what we know, anyone that's worked on themselves, is when you were a child, you perceived things in a particular way. And based on how you perceived them as a child, you then developed certain survival mechanisms, coping mechanisms that maybe were maladaptive. And because of those maladaptive traits, you then had problems in life. And if you've done some introspection, if you've done some work, shadow work, etc., well, then you've looked to overcome that through reframing those events. I've talked about the example with my father being a single dad and working all the time and being too tired to, throw a football with me, that type of stuff. As a child, I viewed that as my dad prioritizing money, resources over me. I interpreted that as he didn't love me, but that was not at all the case, right? And I know this as an adult and from the work that I've done. But this is, again, some of the benefits that you get by being out in nature. Now, the modality that me and many, many other people like, especially for its just pure elegance, is hiking. Because as you hike, none of your steps are the same. This is one of the differences versus, walking around your neighborhood on flat pavement, with all the right angles and everything of modern life. When you're hiking, every step is different. The rocks are in different places. Maybe there's tree roots. Maybe there's a snake. I encounter rattlesnakes out here in Arizona. There's all sorts of reasons, elevation change, that your steps are going to be different. And because your steps are going to be different, because there is, I guess, sort of the novelty of nature for you to look at and perceive. There's animals, there's plants. You might encounter a few other people while you're out there hiking. This is all going to make you move your eyes laterally, significantly more so than you do while you're sitting there staring at a screen, which is another aspect of the healing of being out in nature, is that instead of focusing on something that's, several inches from your face, or even a laptop that's maybe 18 inches from your face, you're now looking off into distances. And especially if you hike the way that I like to hike, getting on top of mountains, you're looking off countless miles, especially from a summit in 360 degrees. This is so beneficial, not only to healing your physical vision, but also to expanding your perspective, expanding your awareness, which again is going to help elevate your consciousness so that you can heal and move beyond a hurt, wounded child that maybe has held you back in this life, maybe kept you stuck, living a life that you don't want to live. Now, other aspects of this perspective shift, again, I'm a huge advocate of climbing mountains, but not everyone lives near mountains. But one of the benefits of climbing up a mountain is you see where you started, and then you are where you're at. And from that perspective, it looks so much easier than when you were hiking up to the top of a mountain. I remember this so distinctly and strongly the first time I actually made it to the top of a mountain hiking after decades of bad living, decades of, heavy alcohol and drug use, smoking, bad diet, no exercise, and finally, choosing to live in this life, and hiking being a huge component of that. Now, there's a million other things I could go into, and there's so much more depth that could be explained with these particular healing benefits of nature. But I think this is a good start, a good thing to leave out there because, there's a lot of things that cost a lot of money in this world to, try to make yourself enjoy this life. And this life, it's difficult for a lot of us a lot of the time, right? It's good to have free ways that are so much more powerful or as powerful, as say medication, doctors, things like this. I want to spread agency in everyone that I meet, everyone that I encounter, because one of the surefire ways to be miserable in this life is to think that life happens to you and not that you happen to be life. So on that note, I appreciate you stopping by per usual, as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.